Hello and welcome to Moneylife News and Views. I am Debashis Basu. It's a month now that the Reserve Bank of India has suspended the fraud-ridden normal functioning of Punjab and Maharashtra Co-operative Bank. The RBI has appointed an administrator. Now, with all due respect to his other skills, he has never run a bank, far less a bank that has been hit by a massive fraud. His job, assisted by 3 more advisors, is not to find a quick solution if the past is any guide. His job is to follow a procedure, and this is going to turn PCB into a bank which is neither dead nor functioning and eating up depositors' money. This is what has happened in the past with every single case of failure of cooperative bank. Usually the depositors are victims of fraud committed by politicians in case of cooperative banks. In this case, it was a business house. Now, but who is responsible really for allowing rampant crony capitalism, fraud, and political influence to destroy the savings of lakhs of depositors in one cooperative bank after another? My submission is, at the end of the day, the buck stops with the government, and I mean the Ministry of Finance, the Reserve Bank of India, and the Cooperative Department. Now consider this. The government has overtly encouraged the growth of cooperative banks. At no time has it made customers aware of additional risks of such banks over scheduled commercial banks. On an average, one cooperative bank fails every few months. RBI has not learned any lessons from previous failures and has not taken any steps to prevent such repeated and continuous bank failures. RBI never made customers aware that it was not regulating fully in the same manner as other commercial banks. Cooperative banks were allowed to provide many of the services that commercial banks provide. PMC Bank, for instance, was permitted to open non-resident accounts and have foreign currency dealings. All this builds confidence, and these permissions were obtained from the RBI. It could give bank guarantees, enter into forward contracts, issue credit cards. All these permissions came from RBI, presumably after adequate due diligence. In permitting specific cooperative banks to issue credit cards or sell mutual funds and insurance, not only RBI but the other regulators signaled that these are fit and proper entities. By allowing bank interest to be paid without tax deducted at source, in case of cooperative banks, the Ministry of Finance encouraged depositors with a lower income, that is below the minimum taxable income, to invest in fixed deposits in such banks. They were naturally keen to avoid the trouble of filing tax returns and then running around for refunds. The revolving door between the RBI's urban cooperative banks and advisory positions at cooperative banks is scandalous. Senior RBI officials who are sitting on critical information about these sort of banks become advisors to the same banks after retirement. Why? In fact, senior RBI officials are even gracing the boards of large crooked finance companies. For the past 25 years, every single payout of deposit insurance has been to cooperative banks, while the bulk of the premium is from the scheduled commercial banks. Both the Ministry of Finance and RBI have known how these banks work and yet have done nothing about it. These are only a few of the important points that I could think of while looking at the accountability of RBI and Ministry of Finance. I'm also quite struck by how callous RBI has been in handling a failed bank. If a bank has tangible assets, it can be a takeover target. If so, it needs to be treated as a going concern with strategies that are appropriate for such banks. Instead of a retired central banker, it should be led by someone with deal-making skills that lead to takeover of assets or mergers. If it doesn't have great assets, it is a gone concern, not a going concern. Such banks need a hardcore banker who can call back the loans, salvage whatever he can, liquidate the investments and pay back the depositors and shut down the banks, all within a very short and finite time period. In either case, speed and direction is the key, but both Ministry of Finance and RBI remain apathetic. They would rather convert all failed cooperative banks into zombie banks, and that is the reason why they should take full responsibility for their inaction and compensate the depositors. In either case, speed and direction is the key, but both the Ministry of Finance and RBI remain callous. They would rather convert all failed cooperative banks into what we call zombie banks, which neither live nor die. And that's another reason why they should take full responsibility of their inaction and compensate the depositors starting now. Thanks for watching.